And it goes a little something like.
Hello everyone, my name is Lacey Fortaleza, grade 12 HUMSS. Today, we will discuss about variables. So, what are variables? Variables are changing qualities or characteristic of person or thing like age, gender, intelligence, ideas, achievement, confidence, and so on that are involved in your research study. Basically, they have two types of variables, dependent and independent variables. So, what is dependent variable and independent variables? Dependent variables depends on the other variable or factor. It is something that is influenced and affected. So, when we say dependent variable, it is the effect or outcome. So, dependent variable or what researchers are interested and depend on the other factors. So, for example, test scores could be dependent variable because it could be changed depending on several factors such as much is studied, how much sleep he get right before talk, or even how hungry you were when you talk it. So, again, this is the outcome or effect that we depends on factors or variables that can affect him. So, independent variables affect that dependent variable. It is something you control over, one which you can choose and manipulate. However, in some cases, you may not be able to manipulate the dependent variables. So, when we say independent variables, this is the cause or the reason behind changes. So, it is the factor that affect our outcome or the effect. For example, the researcher want to determine the effect of use social media and the academic performance of student in mathematics. So, what will be the independent variable and dependent variable? Of course, the independent variables is use of social media, and the dependent variable is academic performance. Because this is what we are looking at to see how the use of social media affect our academic performance. We have other types of variables. Extraneous variables. Extraneous variables extraneous variables is any variable not being investigated that has the potential to affect the outcome of a study research.
Good day everyone. I am Ronaldo Mangas, grade 12 HUMSS. I will discuss the other types of variable, which are all as follows. First, constant. Constant do not undergo any change during an experiment. A constant in the context of mathematics and science is a value that remains unchanged and does not vary. It is a fixed and specific numerical quantity or parameter. Constants are used in various equation formula and scientific theories to represent unchanging values. For example, in the physics, the speed of light approximately 209,792 458 meters per second. Is a fundamental constant denoted by C constants play a crucial role in making scientific and describing natural phenomena. Second, attribute. Characteristic of people, intelligence, creativity, anxiety, and anxiety learning styles. Typically refers to a characteristics or property of an object, anxiety, or data. In context, attribute can describe different aspects of something. For example, in programming, attributes are used to define properties of objects or data, while in the data analysis, they represent variables or features of a data set. Third, covariate. Include in the research study to create the interactions with the independent and dependent variables. A covariate is a term commonly used in the statistics and research, especially in the context of experiments and observational studies. It refers to a variable that is considered in conjunction with the independent variable. The factor being manipulated or studied to understand its relationship with a dependent variable. The outcome of interviews. Covariates are used to control for potential confounding factors that could influence the result of an experimental or analysis. By including covariates in the statistical models, researchers aim to isolate the effect of the independent variable on the dependent variable, while accounting for the influence of other variables. For example, in a medical study evaluating the effectiveness of new drug, a dependent variable on the patient's outcomes. Dependent variable, age, gender, and pre-existing health condition could be considered as covariates by including these covariates in the analysis. Researchers can better assess whether the drug itself is responsible for change in patient outcomes or if other factors at play. 4. Continuous quantitative in nature and is used interval or ratio scale of measurement. Continuous in the context of data and variables. Continuous refers to a type of data or variable that can take on infinite number of values within certain range. Continuous data is typically measured and expressed as a real number and can include fractions or decimals. 5. Dichotomous has only two possible results, 1 or 0. Dichotomous is a term used to describe a variable or data that has only two possible values or categories. It's essentially a binary classification where the variable can take on 1 to mutually exclusive and exclusive opinions. These opinions are often labeled as 1 and 0, yes and no, true and false, or similar pairs. 6. Latin. Latin cannot be directly observed like personal traits. Latin typically refers to something that is hidden, concealed, or not yet visible or apparent. It can be used in various contexts such as Latin talent, Latin hit, or Latin fingerprints. 7. Manifest. Manifest can be directly observed to give proofs to talent variables. Manifest is a variable that is directly observable and measurable. These variables are typically straightforward to quantity and describe because they have clear observable attributes. 8. Exogenous. Found outside and defined module. Exogenous refer to something that originates or comes from outside particular systems, organism, or environment. It is often used in various fields such as economics, biology, and medicine to describe factors or influences that are external to the subject of study. 9. Endogenous, found inside a part of identified model. Endogenous refers to something that originates or arises from within a particular system, organism, or environment. It is often used in various fields, such as biology, economics, and medicine, to describe factors or influence that are internal to the subject of study. For example, in economics, endogenous variables are those that are determined within a particular economic model or system, and their values are influenced by the model's internal dynamics rather than external factors. That's all. Thank you.